Welcome again, excuse me, to Joe Stunner Boxing. I really hate giving Frank Warren any credit at all because I don't like the guy, never have done. And certainly this week with the collapse of the Fury Usyk fight talks, negotiations, whatever you want to call them, and the fact that, it was without question Fury who was to blame. And then you have Warren coming out and sort of, doing his pathetic, hypocritical, sleazy, slimy routine, trying to blame Usyk's team. Well, they were the ones that pulled out. Yeah, wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that, all the demands and all the delays and all the rest of it was, maybe that forced them out, Frank. What do you think? No, of course it didn't. Well, you would say that, wouldn't you? Because if the boot was on the other foot, you'd be screaming blue murder from the rooftops. But no, being the stinking hypocrite you are, you blame Usyk's team. Anyway, I'm digressing. As you may have guessed, that little episode hasn't quite, I haven't calmed down from that one. But listen, I hate giving the guy any credit, but on the day, Saturday, March the 25th, when Sky Sports and Ben Shalom put on a rather dull card from Manchester, I have to give credit to Queensberry Promotions for putting on a very, very good card. Well, actually, certainly a very, very good main event in Stoke, of all places. And headlining was Nathan Heaney, who's from Stoke-on-Trent. And he was having a rematch with Jack Flatley. They fought to a technical decision previously, won by Heaney in 5 rounds. And the rematch was fantastic. It was a fantastic 10-round fight. It was for one of those WBA continental titles, completely worthless trinket. But I say worthless, I suppose it gets you a ranking. I always have to, do a little asterisk by that because it does get you a ranking. But the belt itself is garbage, and the WBA are garbage, now you mention it. But this was the middleweight, the vacant middleweight WBA continental belt. And Heaney and Flatley fought like it was for a genuine world title. They fought like it was for an undisputed world title. And credit to them both, because the first fight was only really getting going, and then there was a clash of heads, and I think Heaney had a cut above his eye, his right eye, if I remember rightly, and it was stopped, but he won. This time, Heaney, from the word go, didn't seem to want to leave it to the judges, because even though he came in with 16 wins, only 6 KOs, he came out banging. Straight away, he wanted to stamp his authority on Jack Flatley. And Flatley, he seemed slightly taken by surprise, but he wasn't backing off. He was punching with him. Heaney, the taller man, 33 years old, Heaney. So he's having a bit of maybe he's a late starter, or maybe this is a bit of an Indian summer of a career. Flatley came in, 20 wins, only 4 KOs, 3 defeats, 1 by stoppage to Kerman Laharaja, although he gave everything in that fight over in Spain. I think he also lost to Harry Scarf when Scarf was this must be 2018, 2019. Scarf was undefeated at the time. But anyway, I like Jack Flatley, a good, honest, domestic level pro, very, very good fighter. 28 years old, so he was 5 years younger than Heaney. And he's listed as 6 foot tall. I looked on BoxRec before I did this video, and I don't get that. If he's 6 foot tall, and I reckon Heaney's about 6'2", 6'3", and I don't know, maybe they are. Maybe. But anyway, Heaney looked the bigger man, and he came out banging, and Flatley was punching with him, and he was. I think I gave Heaney the first 2 rounds. In the 3rd round, Flatley looked like he was beginning to wear out Heaney just a little bit. It seemed to me like Heaney was fighting Flatley's fight, and gradually the tide was turning. Now, in the 4th and the 5th, Heaney made some really impressive adjustments, because suddenly he started to counterpunch. It was maybe about the 5th round, and he started to bring Flatley to him, and like I say, counterpunch. And Flatley couldn't make the adjustments. He seemed to want to have a good old-fashioned punch-up, but he was leaning in too much. He was moving forward too much without much finesse, without much thought. and Heaney was catching him and clocking him, and Heaney started to move as well, very, very impressively. He wasn't running, not by any stretch of the imagination, but he had Flatley walking after him, and kind of like he was on a string. You know what I mean? And Flatley still had his moments when he got up close. They were exchanging, but I just felt Heaney was the guy who was in the ascendancy, and it was very, very impressive actually how Heaney made those adjustments. Was there a point off somewhere on the line, or am I? No. Someone had a good talking to. I think it was Flatley had a very good talking to around about 7th or 8th round. I can't remember why, but he was given a real finger wagging here. And then the rounds progressed. I mean, I made this for the sake of what it's worth. I made this a 97-93 victory for Heaney, which actually was the same as two of the judges. The other one had it wider, and I thought too wide, because I definitely thought that. I thought a couple of the middle rounds, maybe, certainly the third. One of the early rounds, maybe a couple of the middle rounds were Flatley's. I can't remember exactly why I scored it or how I scored it. But 97-93 was my card. And then I think it was towards the end of the fight. I mean, certainly the 8th and 9th round, Flatley's face was beginning to look smashed up. He had a cut under one eye, was it? Certainly one of the eyes was beginning to swell. He had a cut above one of his eyes, which I think was a head clash, or was it a punch? Was it a left hook? I know that at one point a left hook landed and Flatley's gum shield went spinning out almost into the crowd. But he was looking busted up between rounds. And they controlled the injury as well. They controlled the cut well in his corner, Flatley's corner. But in the 12th round, Flatley, I think he knew he needed a knockout, and he came out swinging and straight away letting his fists go in bunches, which I suppose you could argue, well, he should have done that sooner, but it's easier said than done. Heaney fought back. At one point, Flatley really landed a big punch on Heaney that gave him problems, but he wasn't really shaken. He was just almost like stopped for a second and then went back to his work. And then I think Heaney landed a very, very impressive punch on Flatley, and it was just to and fro, and a real thing of beauty that final round. Lots of action, and this was just a good old-fashioned domestic level grueling fight. Throw out that WBA trinket. This was a good old-fashioned small all type of fight. The sort of thing that would be a good British title fight, or even an area title fight. And it's sort of after the rather dull, lacking in atmosphere Sky Sports thing from Manchester, and it was really surprising. It was lacking in atmosphere. It was really flat. But this in Stoke, with a Stoke guy headlining, the atmosphere was fantastic. And they sang Delilah afterwards, was ringing around the arena, and you saw the crowd, they were all having fun. It sort of made you want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, you see these fights on TV and you think, I wish I was there. That looks like real great atmosphere. But all credit to Nathan Heaney for this unanimous win, and commiserations to Jack Flatley, who is a terrific domestic level fighter and really needs to be given a chance at maybe an English title or something along those lines, because he fought Laharaja for the EBU title. I think when he fought Scarf, that was for the English title, and he lost it on points. I don't think he's ever picked up a belt, so he deserves some domestic level chances. Flatley does, but Heaney's 33. Can he go any higher? Certainly deserves a British title fight. EBU, yeah, why not? Jason Cunningham was on the undercard. Of course, he was British Commonwealth and EBU champ, and he had that Indian summer of a career. So, yeah, tell me what you thought of this fight. Try to catch it if you can. I mean, it's on BT, and they normally don't allow people to post their fights on YouTube or Daily Motion or any of those others. But see if you can grab hold of it and have a look, 'cause it's well worth seeing. Leave your comments below, of course. Thank you for your time as always. Hit the subscribe button and then left hook that like button as well. That helps us out a big deal. We'll speak again soon. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.